This mountain climber takes a lot of risks. He manages those risks so he does not fall and become incapacitated. Or worse, die. Ang trader na ito ay nagte-take din ng risks at minamanage niya ang mga risks sa market para di siya mabankrupt. He wants to be able to continue trading and make more money. Sa pag-trade, gumagamit siya ng mga tools at techniques para ma-manage niya ng mabuti ang mga risks. One such tool is called position sizing. It is used to determine the number of shares of each of his stock in his portfolio. You do position sizing to limit your losses due to market volatility. That's the trader's main concern, his number one consideration in trading, to minimize the risk of losing. But wait, akala ko ang main concern ng trader ay profit, hindi ba? Well, hindi. At ipapaliwanag ko ito. Ang pangalawang concern ng trader ay profit. That is to maximize profit. You need to survive first before you begin making money, right? So, pag you are able to manage your risks well, profit will follow. In the coming slides, I will discuss why position sizing is important. And then next, how to compute and determine the correct position size. If you are able to accept the importance of position sizing, then the how should be easy. It's just a simple math. But before we proceed, let me introduce myself. I am Ronnie Ordoña, creator of Smart Trade PH. This is a sample portfolio of Philippine stocks, composed of Ascent, Converge, Monde, and Nickel. The weight of each stock, in terms of peso value or number of shares, varies from 5% to 50%. In trading, you don't determine the number of shares to buy based on how much money you have, or how much you love a stock, or even how bullish you are about a stock. If you use those as your criteria for determining the number of shares, that would be leaving your decision to emotions. Successful traders use science to make decisions, not emotions. For example, if you happen to like Ascent and you have plenty of money, you could wrongly decide to spend 50% of it on Ascent simply because you feel like it's going to give you a big return. Or if you like Converge but you are not quite so sure about it, you could decide to buy just a few shares of it, spending 5% of your trading capital. Now, this is again an example of using emotions to make decisions. So, what is it going to be? 10 shares, 20 shares, 40, 100, or 1,000? Well, to determine the right answer, use position sizing, using risk as your basis. Let me demonstrate how to do this. Suppose you have a trading capital of 100,000 pesos and you want to buy a stock for 100 pesos per share. Your target price is 180 pesos. That's a big profit of 80% in just a few weeks. So, how many shares should you buy? As many as you can? Well, no. Your first concern, remember, is your risk, not your profit. So, you want to minimize your possible loss if things go wrong. Your objective then is to determine the number of shares to buy that will minimize your risk. If your stop loss is at 90 pesos, which is 10% below your buy price, then your risk per share is 100 pesos minus 90 pesos, you get 10 pesos. That means if the price starts to move up but later falls below your buy price of 100 pesos, you will sell your stock if the price reaches 90 pesos and you lose 10 pesos only. You don't want to hold on to this stock beyond 90 pesos because it could fall even lower by more than 10 pesos and you lose more. Your next step is to determine your total risk for this trade. And a good number to use to limit your loss is 2% or less of your trading capital. To do that, you multiply 100,000 pesos by 2% and you get 2,000 pesos. This is the total amount you will risk in this trade. This means if the price goes below your buy price such that your total loss reaches 2,000 pesos, you will exit the trade and sell. Next, you will compute the number of shares you need to buy by dividing your total risk of 2,000 pesos by the risk per share of 10 pesos, and you get 200 shares. So, that's how you compute the number of shares you need to buy to minimize your risk. Complicated? Well, we will summarize these steps in the coming slide. So, if the objective is to determine the number of shares we need to buy to minimize our potential loss, let's follow these steps. Again, given a trading capital of 100,000 pesos, a price of stock at 100 pesos per share, and a stop loss level at 90 pesos. Those are the given. Now, step 1 is to determine your risk. This is given by the formula buy price minus stop loss level, or 100 pesos minus 90 pesos equals 10 pesos per share. Next is to get 2% of the capital. 2% times 100,000 pesos equals 2,000 pesos. Third step is to determine the number of shares you need to buy to minimize your risk. So to do that, 2,000 pesos divided by 10 pesos, you get 200 shares. So that's it. Your total investment in this trade is 100 pesos per share times 200 shares, or 20,000 pesos. Your loss if stopped out is 2,000 pesos. Your balance or remaining capital is 98,000 pesos, more than enough to allow you to make your succeeding trades. Let's have another example. Suppose this time your trading capital is only 10,000 pesos and you want to buy a stock that is selling at 6 pesos and 97 centavos per share. You set your stop loss level at 6.11. That's a 12% loss if you are stopped out. Well, it's high, but never mind. Let's say you chose that based on standard deviation, the current level of volatility. So you have a good basis for your decision. Now, your target price is 12.54 and your target profit is computed by subtracting from your target price of 12.54 the cost of 6.97 and you get 5.57. That's an 80% profit. You get that by 5.57 divided by 6.97 times 100%. Okay, so you get 80% profit. Let me add another useful information, the reward-risk ratio. And let's compute this by dividing your target profit of 5.57 by the risk of 0.86. And what do we get? 6.5. That is an excellent ratio of reward and risk. That means for every peso you risk in the market, there is a possible reward of 6 pesos and 50 centavos. Now, sabi natin earlier, you should risk only 2% of your capital. So we have 10,000 pesos times 0.02, we get 200 pesos. That is the risk or your total risk for this trade. The number of shares you should buy is therefore 200 divided by 0.86, we get 232 shares. Now, you cannot buy exactly 232 shares because stocks are sold on a lot basis, board lot basis. So you buy 200 shares instead. So that's it, friends. I hope you learned much about position sizing so that your trades will be net profitable. In my next presentation, I will use this trade to demonstrate how correct position sizing will protect you from bankruptcy. This is as you go through a series of losses or a streak of losses. I'll also show you how one winning trade can more than overcome those losses. Then I will discuss another technique, one that is used not to cut your losses, but this time to preserve your profit. It is called trailing stop. Watch out for it and see you soon. Thanks very much.